Boy69 here again, and this is my collection of Hoover upright vacuums. And, well, we're going to start off from this end. That is my Hoover Commercial lightweight. That right there is my Hoover Ultra self-propelled, or Hoover wind tunnel self-propelled. And then that vacuum right there is I believe that's a runabout. There is my Supreme, and that one is a Hoover bagless twin chamber, direct air, just like that one. And now I'll go over what's wrong with them. This one needs a brush roll and belt. It's got a brush roll in it, and it doesn't have a belt, and it does not have its attachments. Oh, and it needs the cam spring or something like that, and the little knob that goes on top of the height adjustment thing, and it needs all of its attachments. And this one has really nothing wrong with it. It has every single attachment it came with when it was brand new, except there's a strip screw I need to fix somewhere. This one needs the front wheel assembly and cam spring. This one, the motor's dying on it. It needs a brush roll and a type wide bag, and it is missing an extension wand and the dusting brush. This one is missing all of its attachments, but it has its hose. And yeah, everything's okay with that one. Nothing needs replaced on it. But yeah, that's all my Hoovers in one video. Each and every single one of them. And if you have a request to see one of them running, I can do that. So yeah, I just figured I'd lay them out like this instead of having to get on top of my bunk bed and film from above, and you really wouldn't be able to see them. Again, sorry if the video's shaky. I'm not the best camera person. Yeah, and if I can zoom in. There's that one. Bag cover on that one. And if you can see that, it says Hoover Commercial. And I'll zoom in closer. What I was talking about, you see where the height adjustment is right there. The knob thing that goes on top of that is missing. And yeah. And that's about it. This one has absolutely nothing wrong with it. I just replaced the what's it called? Yes, the control cable and the actuator arm. Yes, that. And I have Hoover hand vac that I'm gonna have to make a separate video on that, because basically these are all like fit in a line. Yeah. And that is all my Hoover upright vacuums. I also have some Bissels and Eurekas I can line up. I can line up some of my Eurekas, and one of them I'm selling. So, yeah. Well, these are pretty neat vacuums. I'll go over which ones are wind tunnel and which ones aren't, because I have like a ton of time on this camera. That one is not a wind tunnel. That is just the standard suction on one side, direct air, the commercial. Wind tunnel, standard nozzle, direct air. Wind tunnel, standard nozzle, direct air. For those who do not know what direct air is, if I had something to show you how that would work, but basically I'll just tell you. Means dirt just goes through the motor and into the bag. Bypass, which that one is a bypass, the dirt will come in, go through the hose and into the bag, and the air will go out of the motor, aka clean air motor. So that's how they get their name, bypass / clean air motors. That is a dirty air, clean air, dirty air, clean air, dirty air. Yeah, I find all of the Hoovers really work well for what they do. Hey, I got an idea. wouldn't work. But man, that'd be awesome if they had a huge commercial vacuum that had that much wide of a cleaning path. That would just be awesome. I mean, you could clean our living room in like one pass with a vacuum that big. I mean, of course, picking up the couch and everything else. But, yeah. I suppose you could do that, but you would need one massively huge handle to connect all of these together. And, man, you'd need a huge motor. And I've seen, oh man, I forget the user's name, but he had a huge Auric Pro or something like that, and it was like about, the cleaning path would be like from there to there, and it'd stop, and it had a huge bag on it, and he lifted it up, and it had a huge motor on it. It could be like, maybe, looked like one of those huge 5 horsepower motors underneath of it, and it must have had a huge fan. And yes, it was a direct air, not a bypass. In case you're wondering, for those who don't know much about hoovers, that one's a hard bag, and sorry about the lighting, it's just not the best today. Excuse me. That one's a soft bag, so yeah. And this is going to take a really long time to upload because I'm already at like 6 minutes 44 seconds. Yeah, that's basically all my hoovers. And Chris, I forget the numbers in his name, but Chris, he's supposed to be sending me a Hoover wind tunnel canister vacuum, which I thank you so very much. That will be an add-on to the Hoover wind tunnel collection. And yeah, if any of you Hoover fanatics would like to see each, or, well, I can't run them all at once because, man, this is just a, oh wow, amount of amps if you plugged it in. I mean, that one's like a 7.7 amp something, that one's a full 12 amps. I believe that's a 6 or 7 amp, 12 amp, and I believe that's a 6 amp. So yeah, that's like that'd power the whole state of Oregon. That's how many amps these things would be drawing all together, and not to mention it would be extremely noisy, and well, let's just say the neighbors already love me enough, and of course I'm being sarcastic about that. Yeah, it would be extremely noisy. But although it would be awesome just to put a huge handle across one of these, find a way you wouldn't have to drill a hole in each and every one of these and mount a huge stainless steel bar with like rubber on it, and plug these all into one huge massive surge protector or one of those power strips, and just clean like you're gonna die tomorrow. But yeah, that would be like totally awesome. Meanwhile, while I'm rambling, I'll get on to another point I'd like to talk about. I grew up with that exact symbol, that wind tunnel symbol right there. Right now, I remember growing up as a kid, like 5 or 6, we had a vacuum that looked exactly like that. And now, one day, the cord just happened to break off and snap and arc everywhere, and it was a time where I had no idea how to fix electric stuff, and a cord for a vacuum back then was like insanely expensive. You were like better off throwing it out, which it did get thrown out, and I'm kind of sad about that, but oh well, hey, I got another one. And now you can buy a cord for like $20, and back then it'd be like, oh, $50. It'd be as much as a brand new vacuum. Yeah, so I grew up with that little wind tunnel symbol, and that's how I came to love wind tunnels. And yeah, and a friend of mine, Well, actually, I don't think he has one. I don't know if he still has it anymore, but yeah, I had a. I don't know, but I'm forgetting things. Anyways, yeah, the history. I'll give you the history of these vacuums. I got that one from my brother's teacher. I got that. My dad brought that one home for me one day. I forget how many years or months ago that was. That one I got from a vacuum shop because the day that thing, the headlight was flickering and was making all sorts of smells. The next day I went and asked, I traded my Hoover Elite. Now this was a newer one, the cruddy plastic bagged, or not bagged one, bagless one. I got that. And this I got out of the back of the same vacuum shop. And it only needed those two parts, and it had everything. All I had to do was clean it up. Got that off of Craigslist for $3, killer deal. And yeah, that's about it. And I'll make a video on, I'll spread out all my Kirby parts, all my Kirby attachments, and make a video on the Kirby all to itself. What else? Meanwhile, while I'm ranting and raving and carrying on, might as well give you my plans for videos in the future. Well, I actually have no idea. I might make a video on all my hand vacs, just random miscellaneous hand vacuums. And then I will do a video on shop vacs, for a guy named Sam. I don't know if he's still interested in that video, but sorry I haven't got to it. But, wow, 12 minutes. Man, this memory card is big. Well, I could talk till the end of the world, but I'm running out of words, and, you know, I'm not a IBM computer, and I don't have a massive memory. And, yeah, definitely don't have a massive memory. What else? And if someone could tell me where I could get a Henry Hoover, like how they say it in the UK, it's like basically a shop vac to them. Well, it's a shop vac to us here in America, but it's like a cute little vacuum, and it's insanely powerful too. It's like if you take that 12 amp vacuum and that 12 amp vacuum and put the motors inside of one housing and into a small tank. That's how powerful they are. And these wind tunnels, they are insanely powerful. I mean, if Nemo got towards that power nozzle on it, and that cat would probably get sucked right up. Yeah, and no, the carpet's not dirty, and yes, I vacuum it every day. It's just, yes, that is the correct name for it. Sand. It's sand-colored carpeting. It could use it vacuumed and cleaned. But, you know, it doesn't really need cleaned. It looks white to me. Yeah. All my Hoovers. And meanwhile, what else do I have to say? As I said, not the biggest, brain in the shed. Oh, idea. If any of you also could tell me where I could possibly find and if anyone has a Eureka World Vac canister vacuum. I used to have one of those, but my brother dropped it down the stairs, and boy, when I came home from school, man, I had to get restrained by my parents. So, yeah, things that day it seems like the Antarctic turned to Florida, and Florida turned to the Antarctic, and things, let's just say things just flipped over. And, yeah, I've never been able to find one ever since, but again, I thank you, Chris, for sending out that, man, I'm even forgetting the name of that vacuum now, Hoover Wind Tunnel Canister Vacuum. And, yeah, really appreciate that. And, yeah, next video I'll show it, and I'll make an unboxing video. And, what else? Oh, and vacuum with it too. And I have no idea where to get, I know it takes Type S bags, and I have no idea where to get a headlight and belt and all that jazz. But that Hoover right there, the sand colored one, epic score. I mean, there's really no words that can describe how amazed I was when I found that. Now, actually, yes, I got this the same time, that Hoover, I got the same time I picked that up, because when I was going in the back, I spotted this, and I thought it had something like massively wrong with it to have all of its attachments and someone putting it back there, and he just said someone dropped it off and he hasn't even looked at it. So I took it home, tinkered with it, and ding, light bulb, had 2 broken parts and it needed a belt. And I should have kept the belt to show you how nasty it was. That could go in like my belts box. I should start making a box that has like massively wrecked belts in it and spread those all out, but it'd be a rubbery mess and I'd have to lay down a small little newspaper. But yeah, I should do that. Yeah, so that's about all for now. Bye.